Hello and welcome to Crypto Insights, where we teach you about crypto. My name is Thomas and I'm the host of this channel. In this video, I have an interview with Nathan Phillips, who is an expert on Quant. I watched his video on YouTube where he explained Quant in a very simplified way, but I still had some questions. Therefore, I contacted him and he was open for this interview to answer my questions on Quant. So with all of that said, let's jump into this week's video. So hi Nathan, thank you for joining this video. We will talk today about Quant. And I watched the video of you where you know a lot about the subject, but some things are still unclear to me. So that's what we're going to find out in this video. So to start off, could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Thomas, for having me on your channel. So my name's Nathan Phillips. I work in blockchain at the moment as a business analyst. I got into crypto randomly. I was trying to start an e-commerce business in the US, and at the time, my landlord was a Bitcoin maxi, as you would call him. He was just constantly talking about Bitcoin. He was drawing diagrams, and he was so crazy about it. I thought, why not? I'll just have a look at it. And through that, my journey started. Fell down the rabbit hole, as everyone says. So,
and how did you got into Quant?
So through Quant, so I've been investing since 2017. I was looking for new investments, which was at a market cap where the amount I was putting in made sense. So like I was looking at less than $200 million market cap sort of projects. So through that research, I just scrolling through CoinMarketCap, I stumbled across Quant. I looked at it, clicked on it, went to the website, super professional website, and just they were building something that wasn't already being built in the market.
You remember how early you were? Like, what was the price at the moment of Quant? Was it already, like, mostly I look into stuff that just got pumped, then I want to know about it, but obviously I don't move in directly. I'll just wait for the next correction. Like, so how early you were with Quant? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I bought in at I think $9.
Wow.
My average is $9. Yeah.
So currently you're on a 10x.
Yeah.
And could you explain to us like your vision of? I mean, I loved your video because it was so simplistic, and I will leave a link below this video as well. Could you explain briefly in your own words? Like, what is Quant? What solution are they trying to solve?
Yeah, so Quant is an interoperability project. They're solving interoperability. So what is interoperability? So, I give you an example right now. So all you viewers, you're watching us on whatever operating system, whatever laptop, whatever internet network. The fact that all these different systems, they're working together, that is interoperability in itself, right? So within blockchain, so in blockchain, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but so each blockchain, they have their own consensus mechanism, their own languages, the way they're organized is all different, the data they capture is all different. Each team who builds a blockchain, they all have different ideas. So everything is all different. So they all don't easily talk to each other. So what interoperability means in blockchain is trying to connect all these different blockchains so that they all talk to each other.
That's an amazing example. So you actually say like the way we all engage with YouTube through different internet forms, different computers, different software. Like one uses a Mac, the other one uses a HP or a Dell, but we're all looking into the same YouTube. That's actually what you say, that is interoperability. Man, great example. Another question that might be a little bit dumb from my side, but isn't Polkadot doing something in the same narrative?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Polkadot. So going back to what I was saying, so everyone has their own idea on how to solve things, how to build things. Quant has their operating system idea. Polkadot has their own idea. So what Polkadot is trying to do is they believe in a multi-chain sort of world. So what that means is that Polkadot itself is not, so I don't know if you guys know, but so there's different layers in blockchain. So there's layer 1, there's layer 2, which sits on top of layer 1, but Polkadot is a layer 0. So what that means is that Polkadot, they're just providing sort of the security and kind of the consensus parts of the blockchain. But so you can take that layer 0 and you can go into the Polkadot ecosystem and build your layer 1 on top of their layer 0. So what that means is that, let's say project A, B, C, D, E, F, they all go build layer 1s on top of this layer 0. So what that means for interoperability is that, I get tripped up on that word sometimes.
Yeah.
So what that means is that all these layer 1s, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they can all interoperate through that layer 0 because they're all on the same layer 0, right? So that's how they're solving it. So for Polkadot, for something to be interoperable, it has to be built on top of Polkadot. But with Quant, if you run the Quant operating system on whatever node you have, you will be interoperable with any other node that has already installed that operating system. So with Polkadot, those layer 1s, they're called parachains. So that all the parachains, they're all interoperable with each other. But then within Polkadot, there's also Polkadot bridges. So the bridges, that is what communicates with stuff outside the Polkadot ecosystem. So Polkadot can do interoperability with blockchains outside of its own ecosystem, but they do it through the bridges. So that's how they solve it basically with Polkadot. Okay, so competition for Quant. So Quant is actually quite unique. So actually Quant is something called the Enterprise Application Interface, which is it's like, it's just, for example, like SAP or like Salesforce. It's not actually targeted at blockchain like projects. It's more for financial banks, like financial institutions. It's more for like central banks. It's more of looking at those existing systems within the bank and connecting it with other existing systems in the bank. But the way they're solving it is with this blockchain sort of approach to it. But with Quant, the way the architecture is built is that it can connect these existing systems, but it can also connect blockchains as well. So it doesn't, yeah. So it connects anything. So anything to anything, it connects it. So it's not really, it does, I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say there's any direct competition within the blockchain space. If you look outside the blockchain space, the most indirect or the most closest competitors, you're probably talking about Swift or Temenos or Fiserv. These are like
centralized companies. Yeah.
Yeah, these are centralized financial institution software companies. They build software for financial institutions, banks, like all the back end of banks, basically. They build all that sort of stuff. So Quant is more of that type of company, but the way they're approaching it is they're using this blockchain sort of approach to it.
So do I understand correctly that like one bank can work with a specific blockchain and another bank like Ethereum, while another bank uses, I don't know, Cardano or XRP, and Quant actually can make them working together because it doesn't matter whether it's a blockchain or a company behind it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a middleware. It just sits in the middle and it connects whatever it is. It can be a normal database. It can be an old database. It can be a new blockchain. It could be whatever it is. It just connects it, you see.
And do you know if this is still concept or that there are already use cases? Actually, it's a question that just popped up.
Yeah, so it's already live. I mean, it's they're already running the overledger network. One big project is called LACchain, which is I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's just this massive project in Latin America. They are basically building the Latin American CBDC.
Okay.
So the actual Latin American dollar.
And you just mentioned also overledger, which is obviously something very important for Quant. What is the overledger in like simple words?
It's a messaging system. So it's a very advanced messaging system. It's not a blockchain. It uses something called posits, which is it's a short word for partially ordered sets. So a partially ordered set is if you just Google it, basically it's like it's a diagram. So you start from A, or you start from 1, sorry, and then it goes to 2, and it goes to 3, and it goes to 4. So it's just a set, which is all the elements are ordered. So that's how it keeps track of all the transactions, all the blocks from all these various blockchains. It puts it into a posit and it tracks everything like that.
It seems like we can do a separate video about just the overledger.
yeah, it's quite cool actually how they built it. It's yeah, really interesting. I find it interesting anyway.
So Quant has a very limited supply, like of 14 million, something around that area in the Quant token. Where will the Quant token be used for? Is that to do transactions in the system? And isn't this limited supply making it very expensive?
Yeah, so it's limited supply, 14 million, I think. And there won't be any more minted. That will be it. The Quant tokens, they're used as a way to pay for the overledger system. So what you have to pay for is the license. You have to pay for per transaction. And then if you're an enterprise, if there's any like additional platforms you want to build on top of this or on top of the system, you have to pay extra fees. So that's how they're using Quant. So they're using Quant to pay for that. But what Quant is doing is they're not charging in Quant, they're charging in fiat, so fixed fiat amounts. So for example, the license will always cost £100, for example. So for example, you pay for a license, you pay £100. That £100 gets sent to the Quant treasury, I believe, and then the Quant treasury it's kind of like a decentralized exchange, which trades your £100 for Quant from the open market. And then that Quant will get sent to your wallet. And then as a user, every user has a wallet. And the Quant that sits in your wallet will be used to sign transactions. So it also, the purpose of Quant token is for security purposes. So or they know, or whoever wants to check that whatever transactions has gone through your app, whatever, it's signed by your wallet because it's been activated by those amount of Quant tokens in there, right? So for every transaction, you need Quant for every single transaction, basically.
And the fees, so you predict that they can go into the decimals then? Like if Quant really becomes big and there's only 14 million available, like you're not going to be paying with 1 Quant per transaction. That's way too expensive. So you expecting it to go into decimals? Because if they every time convert it into fiat, then it becomes just the amount of Quant just becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more like, exactly. So, I think there's going to be a time where you're going to be paying with 0.0001 quant, for example, because there's 18 decimals. But you won't be, you won't be paying that. You would just be paying £100. It'll still be the same amount, but the equivalent of that £100 will be, I don't know, whatever decimal point of quant. And how is that sustainable? How is it going to, what's going to happen when it runs up, when you run out of quant in the market? Well, I think it's just economics, basically. So
there will always be traders and users, right? And users can profit from traders, but traders can also profit from users.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And like regarding this token, where did you analyzed it? So did you look into like, what is your personal, I know that you're not a financial advisor, me neither, by the way, but is there like a prediction in your head, like this is where I can see it going in 5 years or 10 years, when this is going to be a big world adopted solution?
Yeah, so there's a few things. So with Swift, sorry, there's this new messaging system that's coming out, which is these MX messages that Swift is releasing. It's part of this new regulation, which is, it's not a regulation, it's sort of a standard of messages called ISO 20022. And basically within ISO 20022, there is this calendar of events that will happen, basically. And what it's saying is basically by 2025, all banks must use this new messaging system. And there's only a few softwares that is compliant with that new messaging system. Quant is one of them. And then there's a few, I think that XRP is one as well. But then obviously also the traditional software is also compliant, like Swift is obviously compliant with whatever it is, right? So I think my timeline, I think by 2025, I think there'll definitely be some price movement, I think. I don't know, I don't want to say how much, I don't know how much by, but I think by 2025 for sure there's going to be some nice gains there.
So I understand that you don't want to do price predictions. I personally don't really prefer to give any specific price predictions, more about that I'm bullish on something and more bearish on other topics. Is there any last words that you want to say about like Quant?
I don't know, really. I mean, I'd like to say
recommend some pages where people can like read more about the topic, like maybe also in a more simplified way, besides your own channel, obviously.
So there's this good website called quantpedia.org.
Okay.
They've got everything. It's everything quant, basically. And then a good Telegram to join is Quamfi Lounge 2.0 on Telegram. They have all the latest, everything on quant, all the latest updates. Yeah.
I will mention them below the video. So thank you for joining this call. I'm very happy you accepted this. Again, I loved watching your video, and it made, like, I watched a lot of videos about quant and everything seemed to be so complicated. And now you, even in this video with your examples, it makes it so much more understandable for me, and I'm pretty sure my viewers as well. So thank you again for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. Glad I could help you and everyone out there watching. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.